One thing that we are just witnessing this trend towards is something that's very alarming to me, and it apparently is very alarming to the Pentagon, because the Pentagon funded a study warning us of a massive problem with national security, a big national security threat. And that's something that you typically take pretty seriously, especially if you're the Pentagon, if you're in the military, like you take threats to national security pretty seriously. And in this case, what they warned us, what this study found out, is that the big warning, the big risk to national security they found is dementia among U.S. officials. You know, we've seen Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi, obviously you know about Biden, but recently we've seen Senator Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky. And look, I'm not trying to claim any label here. I'm going to go equally as hard on Biden, the Democrat, as I will on Mitch McConnell as a Republican. I don't care. I'm going to call it out as I see it. And we've seen twice now. I called it out the first time, and now it's just happened a second time, where Senator Mitch McConnell basically was like giving a talk and like just froze, just stopped talking, and had to be come and grabbed and like escorted off. Now, the first time that happened, it was very alarming to me and most people that have any sort of a brain can think about this thing. Lots of comments I saw were like, oh, you know, he pooped his pants, or like, this is normal, he just forgot what he was going to say. I mean, they're trying to like rationalize that, but not how like healthy young people work. Like, that just doesn't happen. Now, it might happen to some people. I just would argue they're not healthy. Like, you don't just freeze up like that. But the bigger problem, as is shown in the study, is that as the national security workforce is aging, they're seeing dementia starting to impact these U.S. officials, and as I said, it poses a threat to national security. And so Mitch McConnell had his second episode, and he enjoys the most privileged access to classified information of anyone in Congress. So he has the highest level to the most classified information of anyone in Congress as a member of the so-called, what they call the Gang of Eight congressional leadership. 90-year-old Senator Dianne Feinstein, she's a Democrat, I mean, that's not real. She's 90 years old. You can see her decline all over. I mean, if you don't see this, you're completely blind, or you just listen on the radio. But like, literally, she had disappeared for a long time. Everyone thought she was dead because she had no appearances. Then they wheel her like half-living corpse out into a wheelchair. And no offense, like, I mean, if you're a family member, I'm sorry, but like, it's the truth. Like, she's old. She's 90 years old. They wheel her out. And then you see her in the halls of Congress, and she doesn't even know what she's talking about. And they're telling her how to vote. She was like rambling on. Just say aye, just say aye, just say aye. She's like, ah. She's signed over all legal responsibility of her estate to, I believe, her daughter. Like, she doesn't even have control over her own estate, her own assets, her own person. But yet she's one of the highest ranking members of the government. Like, how does that make sense? How is she able to vote when she's experiencing memory lapse, when she doesn't even know where she's at, when she can't even recall that she was just gone for a month? And she was part of the Gang of Eight for years, and she remains a member of the Senate Intelligence Community. Why is she on the Intelligence Community? Nancy Pelosi. She's running again. She stunned observers when she announced that she wants to run again. She's 83 years old. And again, look, I don't have a problem with old people. I love old people. I love my grandparents. At some point, it seems like we have laws in the United States against elder abuse. And when you're rolling people in wheelchairs who don't even know where they're at, and you're forcing them to vote for things they don't even know what they're voting for, at what point does that become elder abuse? Certainly manipulation of old people. Like, if you got someone to, like, and if you got somebody in that stage of life to, you know, give you power of attorney over certain assets, or to transfer you a bunch of money, or enter some sort of a contract or agreement with you, that would probably be deemed illegal, or at least non-binding. They clearly don't know where they're at, and you took advantage of them. But yet that's exactly what we're doing here. And the thing that I don't understand is, look, I've sided with Republicans and Democrats. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't understand how people, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, I don't see how anybody can be okay with this. How can anybody be okay with seeing Biden go to this 9/11 memorial and just start rambling about just random topics, talking in circles, on stage saying, oh, my handlers told me not to do this, or like, he says, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how can somebody be okay with that? And look, I get it. Like, you know, you're for this radical left progressive, like, whatever. Okay, that's cool. But like, couldn't you just get like a Gavin Newsom or something like that? Do you have to get people who can't talk, who don't know where they're at? And according to the Pentagon, it's a threat to national security. security. Now, most holders of security clearances, which is, by the way, a very ballooning class of officials, have access to secret government information. They're subject to rigorous and invasive vetting procedures. So how can they hold that? I guess at some point maybe it should be rescinded from them. Who knows what they're going to say? They're in with their nurse and they're just rambling like, security clearance stuff. Now, in 1981, only 4% of Congress was over the age of 70, but by 2022, that number is almost 25%. So from 4 to 25%. And now keep in mind, the average age of a Fortune 500 CEO is 57. Average ages of Congress are in their 70s. Feinstein's 90. No one's running a Fortune 500 company at that age. Well, maybe Warren Buffett. I'm not sure if he's still the active CEO or not. But the average age of a Fortune 500 CEO is 57 years old. And I think it's time that we have that. I think everybody agrees to that. And we see this kind of coming back onto the ballot. This is like another talking point. Term limits, obviously, we have that. Insider trading is one that they just don't want to have happen. And now this age limit. But I would love to hear, hit me up on social media. Let me know. Am I wrong? Do you have a different viewpoint? This is an opinion, so I can't be wrong. It's my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion if it's the opposite of what I have. Why would you, regardless of what aisle you're on, think it's okay to vote for a Dianne Feinstein or a Joe Biden? If anybody has a counter opinion to that, I'd love to hear it, because I'd love to hear opinions from both sides. Hit me up on social media at @1MarkMoss, or shoot me an email.